Alright, so you played yourself a bit of Lost Ark and you're getting ready to set up engravings. And for those of you who are on a Super Makoko and you think, oh, I still have a few months left of this, I don't have to worry about it. You do have to worry about it. As tempting as it is to ride out your free 5x3 for as long as possible, it's going to cost you a lot more to make your build because you're going to be stuck with all the other people who procrastinated and are just rushing to make their build. So the earlier you make it during a Super Makoko or whatever kind of free event that's going to be for getting like a free 5x3, the cheaper it's going to cost you because there's not going to be that much of a demand. People aren't thinking about it, meaning people can't overprice as aggressively. So with our current rate of progression, there is only really 2 or 3 points to really make a build. The first point is going to be at 14-15 when you get access to relic accessories. You basically want to skip over legendary stuff and go straight to relic. Anything less than a relic 5x3 is probably just asking to be gatekept at this point. 5x3 is a good starting point for your builds. So I wouldn't say to go all out with quality. Like I'm not saying like aim for like 90 to 100 and stuff like that. Aim for like a good blue, I would say. Now, obviously, the better quality, the better, but in the end of the day, this is a build that you're only going to have temporarily, unless you plan on parking this character and just keeping it in this kind of level range for a long time. And by that, I mean pre-1540. A good 5x3 is really good for a good gold earning ult that you're not trying to push too extensively, and well, just not getting gatekept. You can achieve a 5x3 with as little as a 5-6 rock, but obviously the higher the rock, the better. And by rock, I mean ability stone. Unless you have friends in a static to kind of carry you through raids, or you're just buying buses, you're going to need this 5x3 to get to the next point. Moving forward, the next point would be at 1540, where you can do a 5-3+1 or a 5-3+2 with ancient accessories. Now, you can technically do a 5-3+1 with relic accessories, but that requires you to have a 9-7 rock, so just don't try to do that with relic accessories, because again, you're going to be replacing that build. We'll talk about that a little bit more when I talk about stats. Now, with the 5-3+1, you can get by with as little as a 6-5 rock, but that 5 has to be your 1. You could also get away with the 6-6, and obviously, again, the higher you go, the better it's going to be, the cheaper it's going to be. Now, for your 5-3+1, you really do want to get the best of the best when it comes to the quality, because this is most likely going to be your final build for the character for the foreseeable future. So it's really good to invest into your character because they're going to be wearing this for a long time. At 1580 and above, I would say pugging is going to be hard if you don't have a 5-3+1. People are going to see you as kind of a cheapo. But the only way you're getting past a 5-3+1 is with a 5-3+2, which requires you to have either a 9-7 rock or a 10-6 rock. It's going to take a lot of time, a lot of gold, a lot of fions, and a lot of luck to get this rock. In short, it's really unreasonable to expect to have one. But yeah, this is really the only scenario where you would upgrade from a 5-3+1. So let's talk about ability stones a little bit. So for most of your builds, you're going to be aiming for a 7-7 rock or better, because this is a very flexible number for these. But something at a 7, you can finish off with a 5 and a 3 and get your level 3. Though you can do the same thing with a 6 on your ability stone as well, as long as you get the ancient accessories, as you can get away with a 6 and a 3 to finish it off. But obviously you want to aim for the highest ability stone you can, because that way your accessories are going to be cheaper. So the 9-7 and 10-6 stone, the two stones people seek after the most. With legendary books and 6-3 accessories all around, you have just enough points to get a 5-3+2. 9, 7, and 6 are all really good numbers because these are ones that you can finish off with the accessory caps on ancient accessories. So in these scenarios, on a 9-7, that 7 has to be your +2. And then when it comes to the 10-6, that 10 has to be your +2. Now, when it comes to DPS characters, the most common +2, the one people seek after most, is going to be Adrenaline. And that's because Adrenaline scales linearly, unlike most of the other engravings. Now, there are some classes that do want Adrenaline 3 and some that do not use it at all. So please research your class before just doing ADR stones. Now, obviously, every ability stone you cut isn't going to be Adrenaline on it. So Hitmaster, Raid, Captain, Cursed All, these are all pretty acceptable +2s to have. There are some you should 100% avoid. So the ones you really want to avoid is going to be Grudge, Keen Blunt Weapon, and Precise Dagger. Grudge is pretty obvious. It's your best engraving, so you really don't want to downgrade that. When it comes to Precise Dagger and Keen Blunt Weapon, their negatives, the downsides to these engravings, are the same no matter what level they are. So you're getting the full con of the engraving with only partial the benefit when it's a +2. Mass Increase is kind of a close competitor for this, but people will still run a mass increase too, while the other two people will not run. Keen Blunt Weapon 2 is just kind of a grief. Unfortunately, if you do like run a 9-7 with that being your 7, you're most likely going to be better off making a cheaper 5-3-1 since you're going to be able to get higher quality while with accessories that have a lower engraving. And then one more thing to keep in mind when cutting rocks is you might want to consider getting rocks that can be used on both of your engravings. Say for example, I'm on an Aeromancer, I play Drizzle, and I roll a 9 Keen Blunt and a 7 Adrenaline. But down the line, I want to switch to Wind Fury. Well, that rock can't really be used because Wind Fury does not use Keen Blunt Weapon well. I think it is just good to just keep this in mind when you're making rocks, that you should maybe make some just in case you decide to try out the other build down the line. Or maybe you just want to play both to begin with. Alright, so let's move on to stats. So first off, the obvious difference between relic and ancient accessories is the fact that you go from a 5-3 cap on your engravings to a 6-3. But on top of that, you do get more of your base stat and more vitality. So when you are making your final build, it is worth it to get ancient because you're just going to want to min-max your final build. Yeah, it sucks. You're going to have to spend more fions for it, even if you are getting like a 5-3 ancient, but you are getting more out of it. Now, additionally, that base stat is what your epic and legendary skins, that stat increase, that's what that scales up. So if you want another excuse to buy legendary skins, there you go. But yes, this is a very marginal gain. But again, if you're making your final build, you should do it. Like if you're applying for a Kangol Hard or a Con with just all relics, people are probably just going to see you as a cheapo and just kind of look past you. But what I really want to talk about is going to be quality and your primary stats on your accessories. These caps are the same between relic and ancient. What it is on your neck, you can go up to 500. On your earrings, you go up to 300. And on your rings, they go up to 200. So this is your crit, your swift, your spec, and all that stuff on your accessories. And the reason why this is important is because these are the stats that make accessories more expensive or cheaper. So comparing a 100 quality ring to an 85 quality ring, that's only going to be a loss of 6 points in stats. With earrings, that is a 9-point loss at 85 quality. And then when it comes to your neck, it can be as much as 29 points of a loss. Now this does depend on the stat weight, because if you don't know, because necks have 2 primary stats on it, it can either weigh towards one or the other or be more equal. Since having a lower quality ring versus a lower quality earring nets you a lesser loss, people are more willing to take quality hits on rings over anything else. This means rings are going to be the cheapest part of your builds most likely. But on the flip side, that's exactly why necks and earrings are going to be more expensive. And then on top of that, since necks do have 2 stats on it, there's going to be less up in the market most likely because now it's another level RNG on it, which makes it mean that it's going to cost more to get a neck too. Knowing all this is really good for knowing how to set up your build. So you're at that point where you want to start making your build. So obviously you should start this off with the game plan of what your engravings you want. So what 5-3-1 you want or what 5-3 you want. Now, first let's talk about books. Now, if possible, you generally want your most expensive engravings on your books. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. You know, you just get 12 points in, so you only really need one accessory with this expensive engraving. And sometimes it can be cheaper to buy out a book that you don't have just to buy cheaper accessories. Because the fact is that since everybody seeks out Grudge because it is the most universal engraving, so any character, any DPS character can use it, and the majority of players do have Grudge 12 books. That means the majority of players do not need Grudge accessories that are above +3. That leaves Grudge 4, 5, 6 accessories to be a lot cheaper than a lot of other accessories. So at this point, it's pretty good to kind of scan the market and kind of see what's trending right now, because it's going to be different per day, per region, per what new class is coming out to make certain engravings more desirable than others. And then your ability zone is going to be pretty similar. You don't want to really have your cheapest on it. You kind of want your mid-range ones because again, your most expensive one should be on your books. But also don't forget what I said before about making an ability stone that can benefit both of your class engravings, just in case you do decide to switch down the line. When you prepare your ability stone, you want to aim for like a 7-7, a 9-5, or just something that or better. Because the higher the numbers on your ability stone, the cheaper your build's going to be. The ability stone is really the foundation of your build. It's really what you want to build everything around. When you buy accessories, you know exactly what you're getting. You can get a 5-3, you can get a malice 1-2-3. With an ability stone, you don't really know what you're going to end up with. So for that reason, your ability stone is the first thing you want to get started. That's the first thing you want to craft and be ready for the build. Now, in the situation that you got a really good drop that you want to use because you don't want to spend fions on more, but you still have to make an ability stone, just buy ability stones with a different malice than that accessory. So that no matter what, if you get anywhere from 1 to 4, you're not going to be getting a malice because you're not stacking it with the accessory. And for the above reasons earlier I said about stats, hopefully that accessory is a neck or an earring. You don't really want to build it around a ring because that's the one that you can kind of go a little cheaper on. All right, so now you have your plan, you have your rock, and you're ready to go. Now, the first step I would say is to get a engraving calculator up. Personally made my own in Excel. I can link that down if you want to make a copy of that. Otherwise, just open up any engraving calculator that's out there online. So you want to throw your ability stone in there, your books, and then if you do have an accessory, throw that in there as well. So from here on, you want to play with the numbers and see what you can get away with. You want to get a rough idea of how many, 3-6s you're going to need, any 5-3s you're going to get, if you can get away with any 4-3s. And then if you can't get away with any 4-3s or 5-3s, whatever your lowest ones you can get away with, you want to kind of position that one to be on your neck. Because again, that one has the most variable with quality, and on top of it being 2 stats, your neck is generally going to be the most expensive accessories. And another thing with planning and setting things up is if you're running something like Supercharge, Mass Increase, Precise Dagger, Master Brawler, try to not use rocks or books on those. You want to spread those ones out to as many accessories as possible to keep them cheap. Those are examples of engravings very few classes use. Off the top of my head, there are a couple other ones too, like Stabilized Status, not many use, along with Barricade. So keep that in mind as well. So when it comes to starting to search the market, buy things out and all that stuff, A good thing to know is the weekend is a pretty good time to look for accessories. That is because the capture islands, those guild islands, happen and they give out a lot of accessories to a lot of people. So accessories and ability stones too, those are things that are going to be a good amount of them on the market on the weekends. Alright, so in the optimal scenario, you want to do this all at once. So you have your calculator out and you know what you need. So you start looking the market. Now for reasons said before, we start off with the neck because it is going to have the most variables to it. There's going to be probably the least amount of it on the market. And because of that, you want to get your lowest engraving count on it as much as possible just to make it cheaper. So once you find one that you like, you don't buy it, you hit that pin there and you put it on your interest list. Now you take those numbers from that bad boy and you just throw it in the calculator and you move on. And you're going to do the same thing with your earrings. You're going to find them in the market. You're going to find the ones that fit your build. You're going to interest them. You're going to mark them. You're going to pin them. And then you're just going to put it in the calculator and move on to the next. So you're going to your neck, to your earrings, and then your rings. So hopefully now you have all your accessories marked and you're ready to buy them. Well, first I would say double check it. Make sure you have everything properly marked, everything of the malices properly marked, and then just look at them, put them in the calculator again if you need to, so you're not accidentally buying the wrong accessory. Then after you double check them and everything checks out fine and everything's good, just buy them. Now, while that's the optimal scenario, the other scenario is where things that you want just aren't on the market right now. Now, your choices are to either be patient and then just look again later at another time and see if they're all up and you can get a build then, or you could take a bit of a risk and buy things out and then just fill what you need down the line. Now, this is more common with those builds with out of meta engraving. So again, things with precise dagger, mass increase, propulsion, the engraving that only one engraving class can use, which a Pistol Deadeye is where I'm partaking this kind of route with. But because I couldn't buy out everything at once with this character, my Deadeye, my Pistol Deadeye, I bought out a neck and a class accessory. Now the neck, I did it because it was perfect spec. It was 500 spec on it at a very fair price. Along with my class accessory, I'm able to get my class accessory out of the way, along with getting my +1 out of the way as well. And on top of that, these both use the same malice, which is a 2-2, which means I just don't have to worry about that malice stat anymore. So I still have a decent amount of wiggle room for malices. On top of that, the other night I also bought out an earring, and that was because it was a -1 malice on something I don't have any accessories with. So in the worst case scenario that my other earring is a 3 malice, I'm still not getting it because I would only have 4 points out of 5 to get the level 1 out of it. So that leaves me with an earring and a ring left. And I'm really just trying to find out the earring. I'm waiting for a good priced purple quality earring to pop up to buy that out. And then it'll be pretty easy to get that final ring because again, rings aren't as in demand for higher quality. And in the worst case scenario, I can take a little bit of a quality hit on a ring because I'm not losing as much stats as I am on an earring or a neck. Now, something I did not mention yet is the importance of the class accessory and kind of where that goes where you're making your build. In a 5-3 or 5-3-1 scenario, a class accessory might be what you focus after your neck. When it comes to relic, since there is an increased drop from raids on relic class accessories, it's not really that hard to find. However, if you are making that 5-3-2, your class accessory might be the first thing that you search for. Because getting a 3-6 with a class accessory and a high quality can be extremely rough, so that might be the one that causes you the most amount of trouble to try to get. So keep that in mind, because that's something I forgot to talk about in my initial recording, and while editing I realized I missed that, so I'm adding that in here. So that should cover everything I think most people should know when it comes to making builds and just all the things that come along with it. Hopefully this helps your process and helps your understanding things moving forward. Any questions, suggestions, anything you want me to cover, topics like that, let me know. If you want to hit that like and subscribe, I appreciate it. But that'll be it for this video. Thanks for watching and I'll catch you next time.